All right, so today we're diving into this recipe for pancake breakfast casserole.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but mornings can be pretty crazy around here.
Yeah.
And so this recipe from cookerdiary.com, it really caught my eye. It was created by Chef Adam Hall. And, you know, I mean, who doesn't love pancakes and sausage, right? But to turn them into a make-ahead casserole, that's pretty genius.
You know what's interesting about this is how it really speaks to the evolution of the casserole as a dish. It has a really rich history. It's often tied to like community gatherings and potlucks. And in today's world where everybody's so busy and juggling a million things, it's like the casserole has kind of had this resurgence as like a hero of the meal prep movement.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like the ultimate comfort food. But also, like you said, it's so convenient for our busy lives. Okay, so let's break this recipe down a little bit. We start with, the basics. The pancake mix and sausage. But then it starts to get a little bit interesting. They add in, veggies and cheese. It's like you can kind of choose your own adventure with this breakfast.
Exactly. And so speaking of the pancake mix, there's a little tip here that can actually make a really big difference. You want to avoid over mixing the batter.
Oh, really? I feel like that's always what we're told. Like, don't overmix, don't overmix.
Well, think of it this way. When you overmix, you're developing the gluten in the flour, and that's what can make your pancakes tough. And you don't want tough pancakes. You want them light and fluffy, right?
Mm.
So you actually want to kind of embrace those little lumps you see in the batter. That's a good sign that you're on the right track.
So it's almost like one of those things in cooking where, like a little imperfection actually leads to a better result. That's kind of cool. Now, what about the sausage? Any tips on getting that perfectly cooked?
Absolutely. You want that nice, beautiful golden brown color. And you, of course, want to make sure it's cooked all the way through, but you don't want to dry it out. So choosing the right type of sausage can really make a difference here. Something with a little higher fat content, like a classic breakfast sausage, that's going to stay nice and juicy even after it's cooked through.
Makes sense. Now, the blog post also talks about this layering technique. It's not just like throwing everything in the dish, right?
You got it. The layers are really key, because they create this perfect bite, this interplay of textures and flavors. You've got the soft, fluffy pancakes, then you've got that savory sausage, and then the melty cheese kind of tying it all together.
Okay, now for the part that like really speaks to me as someone who was always, rushing in the mornings, this make-ahead magic.
This is where the casserole really shines as a meal prep champion. You can assemble the whole thing the night before, stick it in the fridge, and then in the morning, just pop it in the oven. You're basically on autopilot for breakfast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a total game changer.
And, while we're on the topic of making things ahead, let's talk about the store-bought pancake mix.
Yeah. I have to admit, I always feel a little guilty when I use the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Like I should be making them from scratch.
Right. But sometimes, convenience just wins out. And there are some really good pancake mixes on the market these days.
Yeah, true. And I guess, if we're talking about making things easier, this casserole, also you can freeze it.
Exactly. You can double the recipe, freeze half of it, and then boom, you've got another breakfast ready to go whenever you need it.
So smart. I love that.
Now, speaking of making things your own, let's talk about customization.
Ooh, yes. The Spice It Up section of this blog post is really fun. It's not even just about spice. It's really about, making this casserole your own.
Absolutely. Think beyond just, the basic recipe. Like instead of cheddar cheese, try something with a little more kick, like pepper jack.
Right.
Or even a smoked Gouda would be fantastic. And don't be afraid to get creative with your veggies. You could do spinach, mushrooms, zucchini, even a little diced onion would be really nice.
Oh my gosh. It's like building a breakfast pizza, but in casserole form.
Exactly.
Now, what about, for people who have different dietary needs?
Yeah.
Can you adapt this recipe?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually surprisingly adaptable. For a vegetarian version, you can just leave out the sausage and add more veggies. You could even do like crumbled tofu for some protein. And for those who are gluten-free, you can use a gluten-free pancake mix. Just double check that your sausage is gluten-free as well, and you're good to go.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it really is a recipe for everyone. Speaking of the recipe creator, Adam Hall, the blog post mentions that he's a chef. He has over 20 years of experience. And he talks about how he was inspired by, his family's cooking traditions.
Yeah.
And I just love that. It's amazing how food can really, bring back those memories.
Oh, it really is. Food is so powerful. It connects us to our past, to our culture, to the people we love. And this casserole, it might be modern and convenient, but it still taps into that tradition of, creating a comforting, flavorful meal. to share with the people who matter most.
I love that. It's like taking a classic dish and giving it a modern twist,
Yeah.
but, without losing that sense of warmth and connection. Now, before we wrap up, I have to ask you about the related posts section on this blog post. They highlight a bunch of other breakfast recipes that look amazing. We've got everything from smoothies to breakfast pizzas. There's even a recipe for a gluten-free breakfast cake.
It's like they're encouraging us to
Yeah.
to rethink what breakfast can be. It's not just cereal and toast anymore. You can really explore different flavors, try new things, find what you enjoy and what makes you happy in the morning.
And that's what I love about this deep dive. It started with the pancake breakfast casserole, but it's really become like a reminder
Yeah.
that even the simplest dishes can be a starting point
Yeah.
for so much creativity and exploration.
Yeah, really. Okay, so we can definitely say that this pancake breakfast casserole is a winner. It's quick, it's easy, you can customize it, and it's perfect for, those crazy mornings. But before we go, I'm kind of curious.
You know what I think is really cool is this idea of taking breakfast classics
Mhm.
and turning them into these convenient casseroles. Like we've got the pancake version down,
Mhm.
but what about like a French toast casserole?
Mm.
All ooey gooey with custard, maybe some caramelized bananas on top,
Mhm.
or even like a waffle casserole
Yeah.
layered with, savory fillings like bacon and cheddar.
Oh my gosh, those are some brilliant ideas. I'm already thinking about like waffles with fried chicken.
With like a maple syrup drizzle.
Exactly. Like the possibilities are really endless. And that's what I love about cooking. You can take these familiar flavors and find new exciting ways to experience them.
Absolutely. So there you have it, our deep dive into the pancake breakfast casserole.
Yeah.
It's led us to, a whole world of breakfast inspiration.
Yeah.
We've talked about the history,
Okay.
how adaptable it is,
Yeah.
and even how it can spark, all these new breakfast creations.
It's really all about having fun, experimenting in the kitchen, and, finding those dishes that make you excited to start the day.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Happy cooking, everyone.